you and I are going to draft 10 teams, 5 per person, that you believe are, in your opinion, in the order, have the worst. If you say you're ex-general manager of that team, and you explain why that job is stressful as the worst job right now currently, based on the amount of questions to answer and all that. I did a randomizer earlier today. You got the first pick in the draft. All right, Zach, what's the first team you want to draft here as the top, biggest, hardest job
So
in the league right now?
I'm gonna stress this by the fact they won like 35 games.
Okay.
So when you think 35 games, you're near play-in. We can find some pieces or draft pick. We can make some moves. Let me tell you why a 35 win GM spot team is the worst spot to be. Washington.
I already know where you're going with this, buddy. You said this many times in the podcast for the last year.
You have the most immovable contract in Bradley Beal. So the only thing left for you to do is to try and actually build around a B-rate star. And in order to do that, you would have to give up everything in your franchise. You'd probably have to re-sign Kuzma and Porzingis so that you can trade them away for a salary. And then you'd probably have to empty your bench and take back garbage salary. But that's what it would take. And I don't see any team willing to give up their number one.
Yeah.
Next, if you're a 35 win team, you know where you are for the draft. You're not getting a top 5 draft pick. You may not even get a top 10 draft pick. So the chances of you being right as a 35 win team tells me you're going to miss on your draft picks or not find a true star. You're going to play it safe. And third, and finally,
Mhm.
you couldn't get KD to come home. How do you attract free agents? I've never seen a free agent want to go there. They get traded there and then re-signed for massive money, and that's the only way.
Did
So,
they sign the guy from the Clippers or from the Warriors, the general manager, one of the might have been the Warriors, one of the front office guys in Washington.
well, guess what? He signed a 4-year contract, and he's going to be fired after 3, or technically, he's going to resign, and then he won't have another chance to do that job for another 10 years because all it's going to be is a revolving door until Bradley Bill's contract is out that door.
For folks wanting to watch Bradley Beal contract, the Bradley Beal contract right now actually kicks in this year or next year. That's kicking this year already at 43, then 46 next year, 50 million the year after, 53 million the year after that. And then in 26, 27, he has a player option, which I'm sure is going to opt in because at that point he'll be what, like 33, 34, maybe. You know how good he'll be at that point, $57 million. So this were the only thing I will say about Washington though is that after beyond Beal though, you got Porzingis' player option next year. They actually as a team are actually okay cap wise.
Yes, but who are you replacing if, say, Porzingis and Kuzma both opt out and
Right.
sign somewhere else?
Well, Kuzma isn't gonna get paid. No doubt about that.
Oh yeah, but if you don't pay those guys, you're not getting the same talent back.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
isn't a Kyrie situation where you can let them walk.
Right.
You can't get that amount of talent back.
And they'll still be a 35 plus win team, 35
Yes,
ish win team.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree. All right, my team here. I'm gonna go. It's maybe a little bit of shock here. I'm gonna go Clippers. Clippers right now. They're not as bad as the Warriors cap wise, but right now they are. Their payroll currently is $192 million. You still got to pay. Paul George has another 2 years left, a year, another year with player option, of course. He's at that age now. He's 33, I think, 33 years old. He can't stay healthy. He's getting to that part of his career now where like he's really good still, but we've probably seen the best of him. And yet you still owe him another $90 million plus next 2 years. That's when you opts in the contract. Kawhi, you already know the story with that Kawhi thing. Same contract, same exact contract, in fact, as Paul George. But we already know how we feel about Kawhi when healthy. He's fantastic when he's not healthy. More times he's not. More times he's not healthy. Um, the only thing I will say with the Clippers though is that they do get some relief after, assuming Kawhi and Paul George do opt out and Ballmer wants to get out of the business of those guys. They will have some cap room at some point. But right now, in the immediate future, they are still stuck. Now, they got a good team. But again, we don't know how good they're going to be next year because we don't know how healthy these guys are going to be either, too. So because of that, I believe they are probably, in my opinion, the worst of the bunch.
So real quick, who's the richest owner in all of sports?
Is that Ballmer, right? I believe.
Yes. So if there's like, it's not even a group up in Golden State, because that's the problem right there.
Mm-hmm.
Is while we keep saying Golden State's okay with paying it, there's a bunch of minority owners that are probably starting to say, we want to get a little return from our investment. Whereas Ballmer's like, I can just keep writing a check. It don't mean nothing.
Well, he could hypothetically, but does he going to continue wanting to, considering that every year it's the same damn thing? This team has promise, and then they don't go do anything. At what point do you say I'm done with this shit?
Because as long as you have money and you have promise, you have a chance. And all you need is perfect matchups. LA made it to the conference finals because they played the two smallest teams in the playoffs. So all it takes is matchups.
Right. But again, if Kawhi Paul George is healthy, they're probably at the very least going to the West Conference Finals. At the very least, they should be in Clippers. They should be in Phoenix in the first round, in my opinion. If
No,
Kawhi's healthy,
I mean, yeah, it's a tough situation because they don't have really any draft picks going forward right now. I don't think so.
yeah.
I
All
just
right.
think when you have one owner who's the sole owner and can afford to pay anything.
All right. What's your third pick? The third team here. That's an issue to you.
Well, I don't want to say it the way I'm going to say it.
Go ahead.
But in all honesty, this man got drafted number 3 overall, and his team is getting drafted 3rd overall. And it's Charlotte.
Wow, Hornets. Okay. Why the Hornets?
Again, it's one of those situations where I believe Lonzo Ball is an Instagram star. He's a B star.
LaMelo. You mean LaMelo star?
LaMelo Ball.
Right, LaMelo
Ball's a star, but not the kind of star that can take his team to the promised land. If he's your number 2, maybe. But they've never drafted a number 1 guy under Michael Jordan. So what are the chances they're going to do that ever? They're slim to none.
Here's what I'll say about Charlotte, though. Their big issue is they can't get any stars there at all. They get second and third tier guys. Now, cap wise, they're fine. Like next year, they'll have only $9 million committed to players. $90 million only. Okay. Now they got to pay LaMelo at some point. LaMelo is after next year can get an extension. I'm sure they're gonna max him the hell out because if you're not getting a star, you might as well keep the guy you have. If you assume LaMelo is your guy.
The only danger is right now he can't get max money because he hasn't been anything. So they're gonna only be able to offer him like what, 120 unless he becomes a free agent.
He'll have a $14 million qualifying offer the year after next. So he's definitely gonna get something. Someone's gonna offer him something.
Someone will give him money, but again, He's not the A guy. He's not the alpha number one.
But there's the problem with Charlotte though. They don't draw A guys, and if Michael Jordan's the owner, you still can't get A guys. Then obviously you're shit up on Schitt's Creek. Now I will say this for record though, the new second apron will allow players, quality players, to possibly drop on some of these teams now. So the odds of them getting a quality guy, maybe like say a Jalen Brown, assuming he's to stay in Boston, or some of those kind of guys, or maybe Trae Young, who decides to leave if they try to trade him, which they've already, rumors been around circling about them probably wanting to shop him.
Real quick, Jalen Brown and Trae Young are not in the same classes.
Yeah, well, right, but you'll still get that.
Yeah,
Anything,
you might get a Trae Young, but what I think you're gonna see is more of like the Houston Jalen Green,
right,
the guy who can't really shoot, can't play defense. You're gonna get guys who get paid. You're gonna get a bunch of guys who make $10 million who can't win and can't really do anything.
right.
And that's why to me, it's the second hardest GM job because you can attract stars.
Well, for me, fourth pick here for me, we just teased it earlier. I'm gonna say Golden State because number one, now Bob Myers being gone, you don't even have a GM. Although they're saying they're gonna elevate the owner's kid and whatever. Okay, fine.
Mike Dunleavy Jr. is gonna.
Yeah, Michael Jr. on top of that. Yeah, him also. It's double. I think it's the owner's kid and the Dunleavy's gonna be helping as well too. Obviously, you have Steph Curry, and when you have Steph Curry, you have a way, obviously. But there's so many questions. Like, if I knew what direction they want to go into the finances, if I knew that, like, if I knew that they had the Steve Ballmer thing, where who gives a shit, spend money, cool. But all signs kind of point to them starting to cut back on that and reel that in. To which now you figure out, okay, fine. Now you thought Jordan Poole would be the guy to sustain Steph for a couple more years. Jordan Poole shit the bed this year, especially in the playoffs. You got Draymond's contract situation now this summer. Does he opt in? Does not opt in? And if you want to keep him, how much you want to keep him for? What's the market value? Klay Thompson next year's last year's contract. You want to figure that out going forward. He's popular on the team also too. Do you get rid of do you give Jordan Poole a second chance? Who knows? I don't know. The thing is, I don't know what the priority is for the ownership. If I knew what their priority was in terms of do they want to shed salaries going forward and not be a second apron team going forward, I would say, okay, fine. They wouldn't be a concern. But all signs to be point to them starting to reel that in a little bit now. And I think the decisions they do on Draymond, decisions they make on Klay will go a long way to determine that. Although I will say Steph Curry's a wild card. If Steph Curry wants those guys to stay another year or two or whatever, they may have to acquiesce to Steph to keep him happy.
Yeah, and that's why I think I used to say the first thing is to get rid of Draymond. And I would tell you, if I was Golden State, I would put out all kinds of feelers to all kinds of press that there's rumors that he's getting offered 3 years for $90 million. Throw out huge numbers that he would go. It would make it sound like, hey, there's people really want me for that kind of money, and he would leave. But I don't think he's that dumb. I think he's kind of plugged in and knows his market value and knows this is his last big money.
So he's the guy too. Also, you can't just look at his stat sheet and say, "Oh, how's his value is going to be on the stat sheet."
When Jordan Poole decided not to play defense this year,
and
took a step back on offense, he moved to number one on the list of let's try to move. So I could see Golden State maybe moving him for Ayton or Miles Turner in Indianapolis. So, but I think Poole's the first one out. Then Draymond and Klay.
Well, Poole has 30 million, 27 next year, 30 the year after, 32 the year after that, and then 34. So yeah, obviously that's just a lot of salary. They'll be, depending on what they do with Klay and Dre, next year they have some relief.
Oh yeah,
some relief, but we don't know what they want to do going forward. That's the question. That's why it's important that either you commit. It's going to come down to either Klay and Dre versus Jordan Poole. That's what it comes down
Well, yeah. And I think they're going to try and move Jordan Poole first and keep the rest of the old band together.
Yeah. I do think next year. I think it's the higher chance that they'll do 1 more year together at least. Whether not Draymond opts in or not, or Clay play the rest of the year next year and we'll go from there. I do think we'll get 1 more year of this core, like a last dance kind of thing, at
Yeah,
least.
one year. That's it.
Yeah, and if they win a title, obviously you got to figure it out from there. If they win a title, I think the ownership will probably be more apt to want to get rid of these guys. I
Oh,
will
I
say
don't
that.
win or lose unless they come back willing to come back super cheap. They're not on the team.
This is it though. I don't know what their priorities are. If the ownership's okay paying these guys, if they're winning still, if they win on the title
No,
next year, then
the 24-25 season. Going into the 24-25 season, whether or not they're coming off a championship or not, the only way Clay and Green are on that team is if they're playing for like veteran minimum, something like that.
or at the very least reasonable contracts to give him space to, because
Right.
Steph is locked up a lot of money. So and rightfully so. All right, what's the fifth pick for you?
Oh, fifth pick. And it's only because I'm getting this feeling that Dallas and Mark Cuban are talking themselves into signing Kyrie Irving.
Mm.
The fifth worst place to be right now is the Dallas GM.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would be like, hey buddy, you gotta go, Kyrie. I don't know what you've been whispering in Mr. Cuban's ear, but yeah, go look for new employment. You are not here. They re-signed Kyrie, and I think there's a chance Luke asks to be traded within a year.
You know, yeah, I could see that.
No, because
It's
that's his Kyrie's following. He's a cancer.
hate saying it, but yeah, you're right. And they gave, but the problem is, here's the rub though. They gave up so much to get him, and now either you take the L on that one, say, look, we fucked up, let Kyrie walk, you fucked up, and do a sign trade. The only other thing you do is do a sign trade for Kyrie. Problem is though, Kyrie's market is not as big as you think. Kyrie's market is going to be much smaller than people give credit for, because as great as he is as a basketball player, he's not trustworthy.
Yeah. But here, what did they give up?
They gave up good pieces that got to the West Coast
They
Finals last
gave
year.
up two players. They gave up two players in a draft pick. Well, guess what? They got the 10th pick in the draft this year. So they got the draft pick back.
Right.
Because if they would have stayed together and been a playoff team, they wouldn't have this draft pick. So the draft pick is a wash. They got a player wash. So they're out one player. This idea that they gave up so much, it's a wash at this point. You have the 10th pick in the draft that you could package maybe with Kyrie and then bring back someone good. But I still wouldn't even trust that. I would just say bye Kyrie and try and bring in somebody.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, no, here. Because I know you love big money contracts and you love those fake stars that can't really win.
Like Rashard Lewis.
So I'm going to take Kyrie Irving in a sign and trade with the 10th pick and maybe even a future. And I'm going to ship him all the way up to Portland
For
for
Dame.
Damian Lillard.
You think Portland will take that though?
They got to start in Kyrie.
Portland, but you think Portland wants to reset, and they want to reset young players. Kyrie's is the worst guy to have on the team to do that with.
What do you mean? He's going to be happy.
Yeah, but I don't think players want to play with him. Young players want to play with him. I don't think they'll grow with him, of course.
All these young players seem to idolize him. That's all I keep hearing about.
I mean, I see the logic. I do see the logic, of course. And Mavs are a good pick by the way too, also for the record, because I agree with you on that. They're definitely my top 10 of
that
top
sign
5.
and trade doesn't have to be a 4-year max. It could just be a 3-year deal.
This is Kyrie's last chance at a big contract, so he's gonna try to get all he can, which I for his sake I agree with him. But yeah, I'm with you on the Mavs. All right, 6th pick in the draft. I'm gonna go Hawks. Not the Hawks. Now they got a good coach, so it's a good foundation there. But they got questions to answer about not just Trey Young, but Dejounte Murray. I think after this year he's a free agent,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that works. Those two work together. Based on last year, it wasn't really that great. Um, and they still got that John Collins contract to worry
And I
about
think
to get the looks.
Hunter is also coming up. Like he'll be a restricted free agent
Who's
after
that?
Hunter.
Oh
The
yeah,
kid they drafted out
yeah.
of
No, no, I know who it is. Yeah,
I can never remember his first name.
I'll say right now. Hold on. Yeah, you're thinking about DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, right now, cap wise, they right now they're over the cap, I believe. 170 for next year. Like I said, so you got John Collins who's still getting paid 25 next year, 26 year after, and then 26 again the year after that on a player option. And based on how he's going now, he's probably gonna opt in that contract because he's like dog shit the last couple of years. Um, Trey Young, of course, like I said, there's been rumors about him. The ownership group saying giving him the green light to shop around.
Is Capella still there?
He's still there, and he's there for another 2 years,
Dang.
guaranteed. 20 and 22. Not a bad deal, actually. You consider 2022.
Yeah.
Not a bad deal. You can still got Bob. I mean, the issue is really Trey Young. What direction to go in Trey Young and Murray? Because Murray will get paid. Because Murray is getting 18 next year. So he'll get a semi max deal somewhere. Um, and then John Collins. He's he he's probably the biggest trade chip to have, but no one really wants that or wants him at this point. And he's stuck with that team for another 3-4 years. So do you move Trey for relief? And then you build around Murray and those pieces, and maybe Quinn Snyder could revolt Collins' career because Collins is a good player. He's a good player, but something's not working. Something's missing. So I think that's a bit of a headache of a team there, in my opinion. So Hawks with the 6th pick. All right, number 7. Who do you got? I think it's 6. Yeah, it's 7 for you.
This is a real toss up for me here because one of them I thought was top 3, and they're still on the board
You need players or just
for team wise, and then
oh
the other is a sleeper pick that could go right to number 1, depending on the verdict.
okay.
So I'll let you be nice to Chris. And so with the 7th pick, I'm gonna take Houston.
Oh, Houston.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll give
I
you.
think you're gonna
I'll
say
let you be polite on with the 8th pick. But Houston,
why the Rockets?
they have nothing, right? Nothing. They are devoid of talent. And this is a team that has now tried to tank for 3 straight years.
Post James Harden and might get Harden back actually this summer.
And really, you want Harden after that long of a gap? I mean, you're setting yourself up for another 3 or 4 years of being at the absolute bottom of the league. Whoever their talent evaluator has been, he needs to be fired. Now, I am grateful that Orlando did not go with who I thought was the best pick in Jabari Smith because he was trash. But they missed last year with Jalen Green. They have nobody. Nobody wants to come there unless they're an aging wannabe superstar.
So what they do have is cap room. They got a shit ton of cap room. In fact, based on the numbers here, they're gonna be $50-some million salary cap, not salary cap, but $50-some million committed to the books beginning this July. Now, I don't know why James Harden want to go there. I think if Harden values money more in championships, then Houston's place is the place to go because Houston has money at the wazoo to pay it.
Yeah.
They do. Look, they have no contracts on the books.
But
I
what does that do for you as a GM? You know your team's not going to be any good.
no,
So
I
you're
agree with
going
you.
out of a job very, very quickly.
Yeah. The only thing they have in their pocket really, and this is assuming that you believe he's a really good coach based on 1 year, Ime Udoka, 1 year in Boston, finals. If you believe Ime is a elite coach based on just the one season, um, maybe he'd be the guy to turn things around, and maybe he'll be part of that whole evaluation process. But again, uh, look, I don't know why Houston. I mean, obviously, they can afford James Harden because they have the cap room to do it. They can pay him the max, and it will be okay because they have the money of the Wilders the next 3-4 years. Why you do it, I have no idea. Why he would do it if he wants championships, I have no idea either. But they will have room for a whale or
No,
two.
they would. And I mean, they could bring in Jalen Brown, which would give them a chance at possible a possible star, an A- star
Yeah,
on the.
agreed. And he has roots. I think he has roots in Houston too, also, I
But
believe.
there's still not enough there.
Right.
So,
I think he has roots in Houston also too. So no, I like that one actually because I think with them it's still a semi big market.
oh, it's the fourth largest
Yeah.
county
Right.
district there is in America. So,
Right. So it is attractive to people, to players. But are you getting the right players? There's a question. So they do have cap room, but again, they have a roster with no direction. Totally agree with you on that one. All right. Eighth pick for me. Number 8 pick. Um. So you were you gonna take that? Were you gonna take this team? I'm gonna take now.
yeah, I look. They could be number one in a week and a half.
The Grizzlies.
Yeah.
It's the Grizzlies. That's mine. Because and now the good news is that they've been able. And you've been on this for 2 years now. That they've shown that they can win games without Ja.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
doesn't mean they're a great team without Ja, though. The competent team without Ja. And I think on a larger sample, they'll probably be a playing team probably without Ja
They
in
have
the West.
25% of their salary cap line tied up to Ja.
Yeah.
And if he's out a year, that's really hard to shape the rest of your team to get better. Now they can win. They can't win the finals without him. They might be borderline 8 seed.
Here's the good news for the Grizzlies, though. The second best player is Jaren Jackson. Um, Based on where this cap is going, that contract is a sweetheart deal. In fact, it's a de-escalating contract. He's getting 27 next year, 25 the year after, and 23 the year after that. So in essence, they will have cap room moving forward. Um,
Where's Desmond Bain?
Desmond Bain is he'll have a qualifying offer. He has 1 year and then a qualifying offer after. He'll get paid.
Yeah.
They'll probably extend him at some point this summer or not next year. You know, so salary wise, they're in a good spot. But Ja is the be all end all here. If Ja is not available, look, I think he'll get 41 games max. Um, I think he'll get half a year. But again, now it's a trust issue. Do I trust you now to not do stupid shit and go on IG live and fucking vanishing the gun and stuff of that nature? That's the question.
But
Cap wise, they're fine, but Jaws is the issue. You should have said John Morant won the Grizzlies.
no,
I should have said John Morant in the Grizzlies. Should I say? I should have said that.
here I on a real quick thought.
Yeah.
What is your thought on this whole situation?
The NBA has an image to uphold, and that it's their business. That's it.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck. Look, you are. It comes to territory.
Because it seems pretty preposterous to be literally suspending them this amount of games when you have other players committing really serious offenses
Yeah.
and they miss 2 games,
Which one? Which players though?
10 games.
Well, because the kid in Charlotte got a whole year suspended for the domestic violence thing. Remember, Miles, what his name is.
Miles Bridges.
But yeah, he got a whole year.
Yeah.
Well, close to a year. So and to the NBA's credit, they've done well with that actually in terms of in recent years in terms of like players not getting in trouble. Really, they've done pretty well with that actually. The
All right.
NFL, meanwhile, but bigger sample, of course. Um, but yeah, I should said John Morant, not the Grizzlies. All right, number 9 for you. You're on the clock. You got a list there too, huh?
You know, it's because of how many players are coming up on free agency, and one of their main guys is up for free agency right now. Chicago.
That's an interesting pick.
They're We're seeing the center position being devalued, and they've got Vucevic up on a contract right now, and I
Oh no,
think
he's a free
yeah,
agent.
he's a free agent. He's coming up on his contract, and then DeMar DeRozan, he's only there for like one more year.
Correct.
So what? How old is DeRozan? 35. I mean,
He's
you
in the mid 30s, close to mid 30s.
yeah, you got guys that you have to decide: are you gonna pay them or not?
34. He'll
And
be
they
he'll be
don't.
30, he'll be
Yeah,
34 in August.
yeah. Not to mention you have Alonzo there, who can no longer even walk up steps. So
His career will be over.
yeah, he's a drag on your salary cap for 2 years.
So you got Levine tied up for another 4 years. I mean, he's being paid like he's getting paid like a star. To
Yeah,
me, he's a good player. I don't think.
he's Bradley Beal.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't look at him in that same way like I do other elite players. Um, I mean, Vucevic can shoot. I mean, Vucevic can shoot the ball too for a guy's size. He has capabilities to stretch the floor a little bit. Um, if you're not getting any other whales and other big name players, you have to hold on to him, I guess.
Why? Why do you have to hold on to him for so much money though?
That's the
Why?
question. Is the money? That's the question, right?
Yeah, sure. I'll hold on to you, Vu, if you'll take $10 million a year for 1 year.
No, he's gonna make at least 25, 30 a year somewhere.
Then go let him go swim in another sea.
Yeah, and the thing is too also, um,
He's not a winning player.
that's clear. I mean, I know Orlando Zack's coming out now.
Yeah, it's a that's another thing. I can tell you. I watched him up close. He's not a winning
I get
player.
it. I get
He's
it.
a pad the stat guy.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I like the one. I think more so is it's you hold on to certain assets. You're a middling team. You're a playing team at this point in the East with him. I mean,
And I just look at it as if I'm getting this GM job now, in 3 years, I might be praying for my life.
he's also 33. He's also sneaky, not old. He's kind of up there a little bit now. He's turning 33 this season, so he's kind of up there a little bit in age in terms of like you can't pay that guy $30-something at age
But hold on.
33.
I know big, slow, old white guys. They age like fine wine. So pay them 30 million. That's a fucking joke. Okay.
All right, finally for me, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last pick of the draft. I want to say Portland, but I'm not going to because their situation is easy. It's about Dame saying, "Get rid of me," and then it goes, and then teams will be going for him. So I'm not going Portland because Portland.
Could you go over Dame's contract by chance?
Yeah, they said 2 more years of his contract.
No, I think he's walking into the first year of his extension.
Right. It was a 2 year. It was a 2 year extension, wasn't it?
He signed for $250 million.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. Right. You're right. 45 next year. 48 the year after. 58 the year after that. 63 player option in 26, 27. He'll be 36 years old, I think, at that time. At that point.
36,
But
37.
I will
I
say
want to pay $63 million.
I will say though, in Dame's defense, though, he's the exception to the rule where his game should age decently in the same way we think Steph Curry's will because of his ability to shoot the ball. That's
Ernest,
what I will say.
Ernest. When was the last time you saw him playing deep in the playoffs?
Oh, of course. I mean, I get all that. By the way, he'll be 30. He'll be 33 next month.
Okay, so how many teams really want to trade for that kind of contract?
I agree, but
Maybe
you're
Houston,
really paying for two or 3 years pretty much.
and you're
You're still
insane.
late. See, this is the problem with the Lillard thing, though, is that you and I disagree about how we view him. I view him as a top 10, 12 player in the league. You don't. That's the thing.
No, because you would win at certain points. You would be a consistent winner at a certain point if you were a 10 to 12 player.
Well, I won't pick Portland because Portland's situation is simple. The minute he says I want out, he'll Portland will have no problem getting rid of him because there'll be a boatload of teams that will go after services.
Yeah.
So my
Like
Portland
who?
will be so.
How can you name a team outside of the New York Knicks?
Well, it depends on obviously every team's salary cap situation, though. But I'm sure Miami will be involved in that, trying to get him. I'm sure teams like Philadelphia, depending on if they keep or lose Harden,
Keep James Harden.
obviously. But that's
Keep
up in the
James
air.
Harden to trade him.
I mean, we can definitely address this once the free agency's over, and if these guys stay in their teams and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But there'll be teams trying to find a way to make this happen. Trust me on that.
He'll go to
Is that
Minnesota for cash.
Boston being on the team? If Jalen Brown decides to walk out of there,
Wait. So you think Boston can't afford Jalen Brown on his lower salary to start?
no, they can afford him. The question is, do they want to pay him the money? That's the question.
So he's been to 5 conference finals.
Again, no, I'm not disagreeing with the Jalen Brown thing, but again,
And Dame has been to what?
one. No. No one's disagreeing about. Without, you're not concerned tell me that you think Jalen Brown is a better player than Damian Lillard, are you? You're concerned tell me.
Oh yes, I do think.
Oh, stop. We're not doing that. Zach, we're not doing
Who's a better
that.
leader? Who plays better defense?
Well, I'll give it to JB there. But as opposite talent, Damian runs laps around that guy. Damian Lillard because he's dribbling the ball.
Dame do?
Dame, he's dribbling. Well, that's a big deal, and he can dribble the ball. Unlike JB.
JB's a catch and shoot kind of guy, like Clay.
Again, well, this is something we'll address once and whenever this damn thing happens with Lillard, because I think once we figure this out, once I won't pick Portland because I think this is such a simple. Once Lillard says one out, there'll be teams at fucking barking for the services. I have 3 options here. Well, actually 2 options here, and it's 2 of the legacy teams on here. I was going to go Boston for a second, though, but I think once we figure out the Jalen Brown situation, we'll go from there. I think Lakers is actually a bit of a headache, sort of. Oh, and it's not, and look, they have good pieces around LeBron and AD.
I agree with the Lakers more than the
Right. The Lakers number 10. My question is, everything is going to be year to year for the Lakers at this point now because of AD. LeBron's age, number 1, and AD's health. If you're telling me AD can hold up for another 2-3 years, fine, they're a contender. And they probably contenders next year too, depending on health. But everything is so year to year. And the problem is the margin of error for this team, even though they have pieces around those guys, it all only works if those guys are healthy. And that's what's LeBron. Although LeBron is, you do some games obviously a couple of years, but that's also because of age. AD is the issue. And I also think there you got to at least consider back in your mind, if I'm Rob Pelinka, that I have to at least consider taking phone calls AD because his value right now will be no better than his ever be at this point in his career. So at the very least, if you're getting phone calls AD, you have to at least listen to offers. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'll agree with he's your best asset because he's your best player. Now here's the question: are you a GM for 2 years or a GM for 4 or 5 years? Or are you trying to be a GM for 20 years with that organization?
As long as possible, especially in LA.
So then I'm not trading is AD because I know who played one quarter of basketball and in the Western Conference Finals? LeBron. Everyone's gonna remember Game 4, but you know what I remember from Game 4? 10 points in second quarter, 9 points in the third, 1 point in the fourth. Because
we agree AD is the best player on the team now. We agree with that though.
So if you're trying to make your team better the next 2 to 3 years, how does getting rid of him help?
Again, I didn't say get rid of him. I said at the very least take phone calls.
Okay.
And see what you get back from him.
Who out there do you think is available that would make the team better than what they are with AD? Because they know all they had to do is get to the playoffs and be healthy.
The problem was so complicated about AD though, for real, and I think you'll agree with this also too. Like AD is a number one talent, but not number one guy. He's not number one guy, but a number one talent.
Yeah, that's fine. But here's the question. Who out there can you put that you could see possibly being up for trade right now that is better than AD?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, unless you're offering a top 5 player, really is I agree. I agree with you saying. You got to hold an AD. I'm just saying to see what's out there who can package up. But if you can't get anything from him, to obviously keep him. But this is out of curiosity, what kind of value he has on the market. But AD when healthy is a top 10 player in the league.
See,
I'll tell you what though, Zach. When we do all this, you, me, and Chris later this calendar year. Spoiler alert: AD is in my top 10.
Well, just remember that, and also remember what LeBron did. When you try to keep LeBron up high.
Well, LeBron will obviously go lower than he was this year on my list. Obviously, he'll probably be top 10 though, but he's probably number 10. The dude scored 40 points, 40 something points, triple double.
When the game mattered in the fourth quarter, how many points did he score?
This guy, I swear, you guys really judge this guy more harsh than any other player in the league, dude.
No, it's because
at 38 years old,
everybody who tries to defend him looks to the 40 points and look past the fact that game 1, he couldn't even dunk or lay up the ball.
Because he's 38 years old. Again, he's 30 years old. We understand that.
Exactly. He's not top 10. He was at one point. This is what happened with Kobe. Kobe got to the point where, yes, he can put up a big number game, but he's not that.
Kobe was way worse than LeBron, though, at this age. First off, Kobe didn't play 30 years old. So let's start there.
How about we just start at his last years in the league?
Yeah, 30.
You don't have to look at age. We're talking the last years of his in the league. When the ratings started going up high for him, first is like 17, 18, then he was 40th, then he was 70th, then he wasn't top 100, and everyone was losing their mind. Mm-hmm. Well, this is what's happening to LeBron. He's starting to go downhill. That number is starting to get higher.
Yeah.
But people
he's going downhill at 30 years old.
Holding it low when he shouldn't be low.
But again, 38 years old, he's going downhill now at 30 years old. Like something should have been happening 3-4 years ago. It's coming from LeBron.
When you're judging who the best players are, you don't put the asterisk next to, well, because he's 38, he gets to go here. You go, who's the best player right now?
I will say, assessing LeBron on a top 20 list next year will definitely be challenging for a lot of folks. I will say.
For you.
You'll have him at 25, I'm sure. So.
I have him at 15.
Oh, yeah, I'm higher than I thought. Based on you're talking.